I know, what does it mean?
I think it means artist.
Huh?
I think it means artist. Creative class, like.
Yeah, well, how is it?
It's defined in there, but I didn't, one day I had to bring it.
I was
Say
just
it's
trying to
like
figure
artist
out what it means to be.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like,
I think it's
creative,
mostly
but-
like-
yeah, work.
Creative, creative writings, but it's really
How do you look at that?
creative.
Or like they're.
That guy over there.
Have you looked at them yet?
I call this meeting to order. All right, first thing, roll call. Lauren will take note of who's here, including Margaret.
Yep. Down there. Fantastic.
Okay, so we can get right into it. First item is, did everyone have an opportunity to read or review the meetings of March 13th?
Yes.
Okay, did anyone have any comments or concerns with those minutes? Hearing none, would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
A motion to move for minutes.
And do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved and passed. Immediately moving to, the presentations, which will start in 4 minutes. First one is Kara Lynch. Lauren was wonderful enough to put together all of these things in printed form in front of each and every one of you. Pretty awesome with a rubric. Do what you want with it. We can, once they're all done, we can have a discussion together about how we want to utilize that, you know, not whatever, but it's your opportunity to just for a place to take your notes, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's it. Does anyone have any immediate questions within the next few minutes?
These become, public, correct? Would these be searchable through,
I did not assume so.
through the information,
I'm not sure that we're using them like.
We're not using them officially for each individual.
I think they're for you too, about it, help everybody evaluate
They are
and
personally
keep all these
designed.
different criteria in mind while you're thinking about it, so you're not
Okay.
just focused on like, I just love this proposal, rather than forgetting about what's the maintenance like, or what's the professionalism like. Okay, all the qualities to help you fully.
thank you.
And to clarify creative class, the presence of public art communicates that unites creativity, originality, authenticity, diversity, innovation, which can attract more involvement of those working in creative professions. That's the short version.
That's short.
I believe there's a longer one, in the actual full.
But thanks, I was just, I was a little flummoxed.
And I know Jason and I are not voting on a finals, but are we voting tonight? Or no?
I believe that's the
That's what I
intent.
thought.
Yeah. Barring some major, you know,
Oh,
kerfuffle.
super far away from the microphone.
Hi, Kara.
Can you hear us and see us?
Hi, yes I can, how are you?
What's the
Fantastic,
speaker?
good. I make you full screen. Alright, and I think you have it set so you can share your screen.
Hang on 1 second. Okay. Can you all see my screen on your side?
Yes.
Yes.
Amazing, okay, great. So thank you for having me. I'm excited to present my proposal tonight. It's called, my project's called Builds for Merriam. My band button's not working. Nope, hold on, go ahead, okay. So I know that you all wanted to hear a little bit about our background and experience and just a few things about who I am. I'm an artist based between New York and Nashville. I got my MFA at Columbia. I did my BFA at Adelphi in New York. I've made many commissioned public works. I've been making public art for the past over 10 years now. I have permanent installations for the New York City MTA Arts and Design, the subway system, and New York City Health and Hospitals. I've also created many installations, including projects for Nashville International Airport, Department of Transportation. My work's been featured in publications like Hyperallergic, Architectural Digest, and the Wall Street Journal, and I also show my studio work as well. And how I got started in public art, I was actually the public art intern for New York City Department of Parks and Rec right when I finished my undergrad degree. It was always something I was interested in because it's very accessible to public art and it has this ability to really impact people in their everyday lives. So I started applying to public art opportunities right after I finished that internship. And in 2012, I got my first commission from the Department of Transportation in New York, and I've been creating public art ever since then. And these are just a few projects from the last couple of years. This is for New York City Health and Hospitals. This is in Staten Island, in the children's waiting room. This is the project for the MTA, so this is one of 6 window sets that I created for the subway station. This is a project, here's my dog Walter, up in Troy, upstate New York. He posed very well for this photo. This is a piece called Carpet Collage from 2021. This is in a street in Brooklyn. And this is like they do an open streets program here, so this area is shut down to street traffic on the weekends and people can kind of gather out here. So it became a kind of gathering place for the community. This is from 2018. So I'm so happy you're here. This was in the Bronx, in a park, and it was painted by a team of volunteers and also paid employees. This is a small hospital project that I just finished. This is for a hospital in the Bronx also. Children's waiting room. And then this is another small project for the city of Pompano Beach in Florida. So this past year I've been working with a few different organizations outside of my kind of immediate area, which has been really exciting for me. So my public artworks generally incorporate bright colors and patterns in abstract geometric compositions that completely transform their environment. I'm very interested in embracing quilting and different craft techniques, as well as decoration. And I'm really thinking about the home and these ideas about the home and the community and engaging public space in these ideas to kind of emphasize that our public spaces belong to all of us. I'm also interested in embracing this idea of radical joy, so creating these installations that are really joyful and bright and cheerful in response to the precarity and anxiety that we face every day. Just want to bring a little bit more joy to people's lives. So my proposed project for the city of Merriam is a set of 2 brightly colored installations that will adorn the interior and exterior staircases of the campus. The installations feature patterned quilts through paint and elements that interact with color and pattern through natural light. My goal is to create a welcoming and memorable moment that appeals to a wide range of ages and demographics while creating a sense of beauty, identity, place, and community. The design is abstract, geometric, and patterned, but also relates to nature. The light-based installations will literally interact with natural elements, and the interior mural features a swirling sunny sky. I know that some installations that interacted with nature or reference nature in some way were in your master plan. It seemed like it was important, so I wanted to emphasize that. My project will include a community engagement element where community members are invited to collaborate and participate in the painting of a portion of the interior staircase. The installations will welcome visitors to the campus, beautify campus, encourage pedestrian exploration, and be highly visible. So this is a little bit about the interior style of the project. I'm going to show you in a moment. So it's going to be an expansive mural painted with acrylic paint on polytab. This is an installation method that I've used a few different times now, and I'll show you an example of a previous project. We're still working out if the fire marshal would approve it, so if not, it could also be painted with exterior grade latex enamel paint, which is another material that I'm very familiar with. The mural will be a complete installation and totally transform the stairwell space. The reason I like working with polytab is that it's highly durable. It's the preferred material of New York City Health and Hospitals and also the Mural Arts Program in Philadelphia. They are very familiar with this material and use it pretty often. It'll be sealed. I usually use an acrylic-based satin sealer, but we could do ink graffiti coating, because I know that was something that you guys wanted. It would be a joyful experience for visitors and staff to the campus. And in addition to the painted elements, I'm going to incorporate transparent, brightly colored, permanent grade vinyl applique, which is going to go onto the windows in this space and sort of continue it across those areas. The colors and patterns could be altered slightly to propose design or fine tune for installation. And I could also incorporate the walls around the elevator, but it would likely impact the budget, so we have to scale back some other parts of the project. So this is kind of a map of what the installation would look like. If you can imagine, this is sort of that landing. It's sort of like it's unfolded, right? So you enter in the doorway up here, there's a landing, you can go down, and then the other landing are the stairs in this window, and back down here. And the idea is that when you start coming down the stairs, there's this swirling kind of sun and these patterns that kind of guide you down the stairs in two different directions. So they're meant to kind of like interlock and weave with each other so that you're feeling a sense of motion. And then also you can see how the pattern kind of continues across these glass windowed areas. So here's a rendering of what this would look like in the space. And again, I could continue across this elevator wall over here as well. We just might have to alter a few other things if that's something that you guys want. So you're walking down the stairs here, sun is in front of you, and the rays of the sun kind of guide you down the stairs. And then this material is a permanent, on the windows, is a permanent grade exterior vinyl called Oracal. They have a few different varieties that we would use for this project, but it would be applied directly to the window. There's one area that there's an exterior sculpture, so I'm not sure if you would all want it on that particular window, but it could be on that window. I just wanted to mention that it's not required by the installation. I thought it would be nice if it encompasses all the windows, but it's not necessary. And I focused on patterns that were kind of cheerful. I also wanted it to feel a little bit geometric and maybe less. I have a lot of like hearts and florals and teardrops and raindrops in some of my other installations, but I thought that these patterns kind of worked well with the design and in the situation. So it's meant to feel like a quilt. Most of the patterns have these really rounded edges so that they're very appealing and very friendly. And then this is an example of a previous work. So this is like the Patchogue Medford Library in New York. So I just finished this, and it kind of has a similar flow that, you know, the mural kind of goes down the stairs, and then there's a center point that kind of guides the whole thing together. Here's another view of that. And this is made using the polystab material. So basically the material is painted primarily off-site and then installed, which really reduces the amount of time we need to close the staircase for, so it's kind of great in that way. Because not that much work has to happen on-site, just touch-ups after the material is applied with an adhesive that is acrylic-based. And then also, so as part of this project, I had a community painting day. So we have this like polytab sheet. This is how the sheets are prepared and how they come. And I kind of outlined each shape with color, and then participants are able to fill in those areas. So I wasn't thinking this would be the entire mural on the interior staircase, but perhaps a portion of it could be painted by visitors and staff, maybe the lower portions. That way we could even have it up on the wall as folks are working on it, which would be really exciting, I think. And the same sort of situation could be set up where we would have paint by number. This is a little bit about the installation process. So this is a mural adhesive gel. It's by a company called Golden. And it goes up very similarly to wallpaper. But again, if this material is not approved ultimately, we could do this all on site as well. And I would create a system of stencils that would allow this to happen, which I've done before. And these are a few details of the windowed areas, just so you can see. So they're just continuing across the design across the space. This is a project that uses the same, this is a rendering. It's an in-progress project for New Jersey Transit, but it uses the same material. So it's this Oracal vinyl that is then applied. And I really love this material. It's super cool. It really catches the light, and it allows, because it's all hand cut, it's like a photographic gel, and it really lets the light change color and really pass through there. Unlike printed vinyl, which sometimes sort of like fogs the image in the end, this really lets most of the light come through, which is really exciting. Here's a photo from my studio, and you can see the light really coming through there. So this is a budget for the interior stairwell. Poly tabs about 2,200, the golden paints would be about 2,500. The labor to paint and prep the vinyl would be $6,000. Vinyl for the windows would be around 800. Scaffold, which I had quoted by Casey Scaffold, Kansas City Scaffold was 5044. Miscellaneous studio supplies around 1,000. Golden mural, he said 650. The on-site installation labor, which would be for install touch-ups, and we could incorporate the community engagement in that is 2,000, and then a varnish or any graffiti coating would be about another 1,000. So for the interior staircase, it's 21,194. And then the exterior stairwell is going to feature a custom awning with panels of clear polycarbonate sheeting. So transparent, permanent grade, brightly colored vinyl, the same vinyl that we will use for the interior staircase will be attached to the sheeting. And the awning is going to be at an angle, so it's going to have a pitch that will allow folks from the street level as well as below and then on the stairs, all these different levels that are kind of part of that site will be able to appreciate and engage with the artwork. It's also going to allow, the pitch will also allow rainwater and snow to flow off the awning. And I kind of landed on this idea because I know that there were some concerns about snow on the ground and durability and foot traffic, and I thought it would be a good solution to have something that's above, but it's still going to impact, as you'll see in a second, the ground level. So I'm going to work with a custom awning manufacturer, actually a metal fabricator, to make sure this is safe to code and durable. It's going to be a similar image to what's on the staircase on the interior, which is sort of creating a cohesive experience for people that are visiting the community center campus. So at times it'll operate as a sun catcher, and at other times it'll kind of cast this colored light onto the stairwell, and we could add additional lighting if desired. But again, the design's not finalized, but it'll be similar to the interior stairwell mural. So this is the rendering of what that would look like. So the post would likely be steel with a clear coating so that they wouldn't rust or become damaged in the elements. And then the artwork is all kind of above, so you can appreciate it from the ground looking up and then also looking down. And then we cast these shadows or this colored light onto the floor below. And then an example of previous work. This is not exactly the same material, but it's a project that kind of operated in a similar way for the airport in Nashville. Another different kind of vinyl material. So the exterior budget, custom awning fabrication installation is about 10,000. I was able to confirm that just this last week, actually, that that's feasible. I spoke with a couple of fabricators that are based in the area. Assistant labor, $3,000. That's to create the vinyl applique. Miscellaneous materials, 500, and then the vinyl itself, 3,000. So that's 16,500 for the exterior budget. And then this is my complete budget. So the interior, stairwell 21,194, exterior 16,500, artist fee 8,000, and then travel, car rental, hotel flights for me and assistant, a little bit of contingency funds built into that in case we run over, and then an initial trip to make measurements. So my total budget is at 50,000. And then for long-term care, again, the polytab murals are very, very durable, especially when they're sealed. I said no significant long-term maintenance is expected. I don't think any of the projects that I've done in the last 5 years using that material have needed any maintenance. And some of the New York City Health and Hospitals murals, I've been on that material for like 10 years now. And same with the Philadelphia program, they last a long time. It's always good to monitor for any kind of delamination or wear, but I don't expect it. It could be gently cleaned if needed. No harsh chemicals should be used. Shouldn't be scrubbed. Just soft brush or cloth and water. And then the vinyl installation will be made with ORPL 300, and in an interior situation, this is considered permanent. Again, for the exterior, again, the ORPL 300, so it should last a number of years in an exterior environment before showing any signs of wear. And if the budget allows, I'm going to add an additional layer like a laminated protective material. And then the awning itself will be securely attached to the parking structure. Of course, will be cemented into the ground. Structure will be also highly durable. and it will stand up well to the outdoor elements. And then this is my timeline. So the installation and the interior touch-ups and community event, I'm saying is approximately 8 days, maybe 8 to 10 days. Installation will be complete by October 10th, and you guys have the deadline, big celebration coming. Final measurements I would take in early June likely, finalize the design in June. Polytag painting would happen over the summer, as well as vinyl fabrication. The awning fabrication would happen July through September. Awning installation late September. I also have September as a contingency, so anything that needs to happen in my studio would happen then, as well as packing. And then the installation hopefully would happen in late September of 2025. I know you were curious if we're open to feedback, so I'm very open to feedback and maybe any edits based on your recommendations. And then this was another idea before I had this awning plan. I didn't totally flesh this out, obviously, but if you were interested in the mural on the interior and hated the awning idea, I could also kind of work this out a little bit more clearly. And that's it. That's all I have. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. One of them is, what was your thought process around the color choices?
So I wanted it to feel really bright and vibrant. I think the city logo has blue and yellow in it also. And I thought that would be nice to incorporate. A lot of people have very, very strong feelings when I've incorporated like red and pink in my work. They have very strong associations. So a lot of it has to do with the kind of psychology behind the color actually, rather than choices that, would make for some other reason. So blues tend to be calming. I also wanted to feel kind of energized with a lovely yellow and the orange without being like crazy, crazy vibrant or overstimulating.
And then lastly, based on your presentation, it does sound like you're open to an expansion of the project or adjustments. Expansion meaning maybe we want, more than what's there, and you're open to that idea, obviously with an extended budget, so.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely open to that.
Okay. Anyone else, questions?
I just wanted to be clear, Kara, you show on the, one of your interiors that I presume that's just a reflection on the floor. You show some color.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's just the light. It's just to show that the light coming through the windows would pass through that vinyl material, and it usually casts a shadow depending on the direction of the light, or not a shadow, it casts this colored light, which ends up being it's exciting, I think, for people to see when it kind of interjects into their space in a way that's unexpected.
And I wasn't clear when you were, the Oracle vinyl sheets that you might use for the outside. How long have you had some of those exposed to the elements?
So there's been I have some that are up in my studio and they're in an interior environment, so it's a little bit different. But that's been over 1.5 years now, and they're like perfect, nothing's happening. But for an exterior environment, Oracle says that they're rated for 7 to 10 years, I think is the time frame that they give. And then we might also be able to add another layer of lamination or another layer of the polycarbonate to add some even more protection. But the material itself could be placed on the underside, kind of, with the polycarbonate sheet, so that it wouldn't be directly exposed, although it would be visible from both sides. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it would probably make it last longer than the term that they suggest, basically.
If you were to, so like the other options you gave aside from the awning, I kind of had the same question about the durability of it.
Yeah.
So the other options you gave, what materials are you planning to use, like on the exterior for that?
Yeah, so if I were to paint on the exterior of the building, the stairs and the side of the parking structure, it would be an exterior grade latex enamel paint, and I've had a lot of success with Sherwin-Williams brand. I have an installation that's been up in Long Beach, New York, in an area that gets like a ton of salt and snow and foot traffic, and it looks pretty much brand new. and it's 3 years later, and that's on the ground. So the other material that I add to the paint when it's on the floor, on the ground, where people are gonna be walking, is a material called shark grip. So it's like a gritty material that gets mixed into the paint directly to prevent any slips or falls, and it, makes it, I guess it just makes it durable for that. So the outside side would be primed and then painted with exterior latex enamel. And then the shark grip would be added for the ground surfaces.
Anyone else? Yep.
Okay, so I have a question that's kind of twofold. I really like the idea of the awning. Unfortunately, I think our budget kind of limited you from being able to extend it all the way up the stairs. And then obviously the issue with the stairs, the space closing as you go up the stairs. By any chance, did you consider moving this in front of the entrance to the garage? And the reason I ask this is my twofold question is we've had a lot of trouble getting people to stop for pedestrians as they're going in and out. One of the reasons I think is because of the sun. So it would, I think, actually work as a safety measure as well as beautification.
Yeah, I love that. I'm definitely open to moving it, for sure. Yeah, I think the positioning and the size that I settled on in the end was mostly because of the budget. But I think that it's possible to move, or it's something that when I come out, or if I come out to measure, I would be able to, meet with y'all and talk about this site and adjusting that as well. Also, just to mention that you're mentioning pedestrian safety. And if you wanted part of the design where it comes up the stairs to go over the crosswalk, that could happen as well. But yeah, I'm definitely open to moving it over the entrance to the parking as well.
Thank you.
I have one more question. Your piece you have at the Fitness Avenue spillway station, is that glass?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
glass.
okay, that's fine. I thought maybe that was some of your vinyl sheets too. Okay, so what is
No.
that?
That one, yeah, they had a really big budget for that project, and that one, yeah, different timeline.
And, did you have one? And your installation that was, I can't remember what, I think it was in the Bronx, where it was in the median, and you had the big aerial view. How
Yeah.
long has that been in place and how has it held up?
So that one, I'll tell you a little bit about that project. I had about 36 hours to install it, and it's 1,200 feet. So my budget was it was like $10,000 or $12,000. So it was really like an insane installation. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. But it was crazy. So we didn't prime, because of the limited time frame that we had. And it was only meant to last 11 months. So it surpassed that. I think we got a year and a half of it where it was looking good. But I think the priming actually makes a really, really big difference. And like looking at that project versus this other project in Long Beach that I should have put an image in. But that one held up a lot better because of the priming. And also it's a crazy busy block in Brooklyn. They get it's like a ton of commercial traffic. Big trucks are in and out of that block all the time, so.
Okay. Yep, go ahead, Jane.
Your work is really beautiful. Thank you
Thank
so much. And
Thank you.
you're so organized.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's helpful from a city perspective.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Any other questions from anyone?
I have one quick question on the orcal. So you're hand cutting the shapes of different translucent color, not direct printing on it correct?
Yeah, exactly. So I rigged up this system in my studio. It projects down, and then I am able to trace and cut and kind of applicate it. So it's very much like quilting.
Yeah.
And they work with lighting Jones, and it looks so much better than the digital printing. So I really prefer to use it. Yeah.
Yeah, the direct printing on the clear can be really tricky, so that's why I was just.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One thing on the polytab, in terms of post-installation, if there were issues more in line of vandalism,
Right.
what's the approach for reparation for that?
So we could, it would be treated the same way as a regular, a mural would. We could do an anti-graffiti coating on it. I'll look into that. And those could be, it's a barrier, so that they could be kind of scrubbed a little bit more vigorously than I would recommend otherwise. But it could be repainted if there was some, extreme vandalism. But typically, like the satin sealer protects it, and if it's any kind of accidental damage, that would be, a scuff or something that would help. But if it's truly vandalized, I think, the graffiti coating would probably be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So making your decision.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
That doesn't actually start until 6:10.
And I also, I didn't even mention the range.
Thank you so much.
That's okay. Half hour, so that's why I'm getting them to work.
Maggie, you gonna
So I'm not gonna
everything
park.
okay? Sure.
Yeah, everything's been just fine. Yeah.
The other thing is the lighting.
Yeah,
It's very weird.
exactly.
She's proposing one other, right, not both?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, she's only proposing one space.
I'm down.
I don't know, I think she'd have to remove this. to make it
Like, you really need to make it the awning thing was like 16,000.
No, I'm sorry, Beth.
Oh, Beth.
Word is ugly.
I believe she said
One or the other.
500 square feet. We can do
Even if the living
500 square feet.
500
Mhm.
square feet, yes.
or smaller, or
So,
fun.
She's a lot.
No.
Yeah.
I tried to calculate that a little bit.
Well, you could kind of, like, cause Kara calculated what hers was for the interior stairwell.
She had it about 200 square feet.
1,200 square feet, covered, like, rounding.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
So
that's good.
in comparison to what Beth is saying, is 500 square feet, that's almost a third of what Kara was wrapping.
Correct.
I'm a project manager. Not too crazy.
You should see his face.
Yes, from what I can tell, the exterior
No,
stair
I
from
mean,
the
he's
wall
just not happy with
is
it.
about 470 square feet, just the wall,
Right.
not the stairs. And then the big main wall in the stairwell, that north wall, is about 570.
Like the one that, runs parallel with the stairs.
Yeah, and
Well,
then,
that's,
you know.
that's the way it's supposed to
And it's wrong, so this is all.
Yes,
stairs.
And then for Beth, is that her, sorry.
Well, then,
Yeah.
I think I have to
That's
She's special.
Hey,
Hey,
guys,
guys.
Beth mailed her proposal in, so, that's why you have all of your individual packets there, and then these were the other components that she included in her package that she sent, so.
Yeah.
And you're interested in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're the feedback cards.
Maybe I'll have to look at it.
Sure. Your products, can you tell?
Sure.
It was very thoughtful, lady.
She did a custom palette here.
Oh,
That's gorgeous. I just eat that for dinner.
That's nice.
So here's her interior. Every square inch.
I've ever seen back there.
You can imagine it's still there.
Sorry?
Is this, oh, they moved, oh, this is.
You can imagine it's completely there.
So do you guys know what she needs for this?
No.
Like,
Yeah, that would be
I'm
the rest of
glad
my
I
question.
know.
My question is she tiling the whole
Is
thing?
it tiling?
She's gonna do it out of mosaic?
With images on top?
they both my house.
Right.
This might
I
also
interpreted
just be
it as
a representation of our color palette.
inspiration board.
Oh, like color
Like,
sheet instead of like actual.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
Pick
she's,
something
I
like
don't,
that.
I mean, she
Doesn't
doesn't
it
reflect
reflect
the tile, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I
No.
love the,
She can just do that all over the wall. Yeah, I love that. Okay.
I think this is just
No,
color.
I think she has some.
She is
She
a very
has
interesting tile in her
about
shape.
five.
Yeah.
But it's not, it's not that clear.
yeah, it just said, design will be fabricated in vitreous glass,
Which is that?
showing shimmering and cool toned colors. I have chosen either the west wall or the interior stairwell or the outdoor wall underneath the parking line. Whichever I can provide an experience.
So yeah, just to be clear, her proposal is for one or the other, not both.
Yeah.
And so this is. Yeah, so you like fuse it together to get these like kind of wash colors or?
But that wasn't that on the grid? Did we draw? These were on the grid?
Yeah, those are on the spreadsheet.
I saw it from the grid.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I get you any closer, I have to tilt it so bad it paralyzes.
What is that, by the way?
That's a swimmer, it's a swimmer.
Oh, it's.
It's a swimmer. She mentioned that.
She mentioned it, yeah, swimmer, oh. So
Okay.
I get what you're saying.
I think it's.
Now it's blurry though. Yeah.
I got too far, sorry.
Huh?
They
voted.
Oh.
We assume.
Oh,
Just ask for feedback. I'll put it in the chat box.
Because I think any feedback.
It's fine, if it needs to be,
Yeah,
tilted, like, I'm fine.
okay, sweet.
I like this.
With the, all the. Oh my God, just a minute.
Yeah, these are all, I
Yeah.
separated them
Oh,
out.
I was gonna say.
Because I wanted to,
That was a little lot.
yeah, I wanted to make sure.
Oh, okay, I was like, I thought so, but I just wasn't sure.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Wait, put that one over
there, right? Very small. I was like, figure it out. And they're like,
These are all.
This one is
And I was gonna go ahead and start the Zoom with that. so you can-
It's not like it, I mean, you're probably, you know. No one's tile at the same time.
Yeah. And yeah. No, I don't.
Can you hear me? Oh, we can't hear you, you're muted.
You need to unmute your.
Can you do it for her? Something's in here. Can you go back and name?
Click on participant.
Yeah.
Before somebody,
That should help her though, if you ask her on there.
then she can click a button.
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, indeed.
There we go.
Okay,
Hello.
as you know, I'm hearing impaired, so I'm reading an app on my phone where everything you say, comes through on captions. So if I'm looking there, that's what I'm looking at my phone.
Okay.
We're ready when you are.
I'm ready.
Go for it.
Go ahead and go.
want me to answer the first question, my background and how I got started in public art. I've been an artist my entire life. After earning a BA degree, majoring in art and English, I started my career in New York City in the garment center as a fabric designer. Moving to South Florida in 1990, I earned a BFA and MFA degrees. Shortly after, I began to translate my art and business expertise in a multifaceted art career. As long as I can remember, I have been fascinated with large-scale and bold colors. I am a multi-dimensional public artist, working with ceramic, mosaic, glass, metal, sculpture, printing, and painting. I have been engaging and collaborating with communities to transform public spaces into functional and aesthetically beautiful works of art for the past 20 years. And how I actually started, I donated a ceramic mural to a park and in Broward County, and the Cultural Affairs Director recommended me for a grant with a landscape architect. So I volunteered, I donated my first piece of public art, and that's how I got into the field. My inspiration came from Kansas. I live in Florida and now know all things Kansas. Kansas's nickname is the Sunflower State. The state bird is the western meadowlark. The state flower is the sunflower. The state animal is the American buffalo. Kansas produces nearly 20% of all wheat grown in the United States. Dorothy's home for the Wizard of Oz is still in Liberal, Kansas. Kansas is 88% farmland. After learning all of these facts, I decided to represent these facts in my artwork for the Merriam Community Center on a vibrant and lively, colorful background with the colors blending and meshing into each other. I have placed most of the above. In addition, I have expressed objects from Merriam and the community center. This is pictured as a swimmer because they're both an indoor and outdoor pool, a bicycle to represent fitness, a library and book because of the new Merriam Library built, the drama masks plus dancers to reveal the arts at the center and other programs. The design will be fabricated in vitreous glass samples which I sent, showing off shimmering and jewel-toned colors. I have chosen either the west wall in the interior stairwell or the outdoor wall underneath the parking sign and against the concrete parking structure wall, whichever I can do for 500 feet. The vitreous glass was not affordable at 1,000 square feet. Again, is there anything you want to ask me? Yes, not both. I don't have the budget to do both. It's one or the other, and it's 500 square feet.
And have you done the tile outdoors before?
I haven't personally, but the company I'd be working with, this is what they do. And the longevity is 100 years.
All right.
That's great.
And it's so beautiful in this glass. And in the sunlight, it's just gonna shimmer outside.
Beth, can you, oh, did you?
No, go ahead.
Beth, can you explain your process? Do you do a underpainting or anything under the tile, or is the tile the sole medium?
Now I do an underpainting, which you have there. That is the underpainting, and the company enlarges that. Or does what they have to do to put the tile on top.
I'd like to ask a follow-up question. So the company you're using, they will attach the tiles to a substrate that then gets placed on the wall?
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Did you have a question?
Well, I guess I was thinking, will you assemble this then in place? Or will it somehow come prefabricated?
Well, it comes attached to either a mesh or a substrate, and then I hire a company that installs it onto the wall.
Okay.
I'll be there.
Yep, go ahead.
Sorry, I keep asking you all these technical questions. After it's attached to the wall, do you grout it at all, or is it fine how it is?
It's grouted afterward,
Thank you.
once it's on the wall. And grout is actually stronger than tile.
I just have a question, if one of the tiles were to get broken, or multiple tiles were to get broken from vandalization or just something hitting it, is there a way to repair or replace like a few tiles in 5 years or something like that?
Yes, I'll leave you with a lot of extra tile. And then either you'll find somebody or I'll find somebody that can adhere it with the proper substance back to the substrate.
Thank you.
Anyone else, further questions? I don't hear any further questions. Beth, thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was nice to meet you.
Uh-huh.
This-
You just clear out.
Good job, Lauren.
Are you getting confused by that one?
No. No more unusual, sweetie. So it's a painting?
She does a painting and then she sends it to a company that reproduces that.
That's,
In
Authors
tile.
Collective is starting,
Attaches the
scheduled for
tile.
6:45, so we have
20 minutes.
about 25 minutes.
Well,
Good.
you wanna do it, sorry.
Have you ever bought?
I
They'll basically, and they'll scale it up. They'll take her small painting and scale it up to the.
Do we get to run around for 20 minutes?
Because I don't want to start discussing.
I should stand up.
Right.
I should stand up.
I think it's like, I'm sure the tiles shimmering in the sun.
She said, Stacy said that she said it was somewhere 500 square feet. and
It's
she
in
said-
the sheet.
Oh, okay. I was so
But-
probably just being like,
Yeah,
Snacks over
because
there,
I
if you
think,
would like snacks.
Yeah, cool guys, in 5 minutes, we'll do a quick, at the end of our meeting, we normally have all the city updates. Let's do those while we're waiting on the loggers. Great
Okay.
suggestion, Stacy. So that we can have that done now instead of at the end of the meeting, since
Okay.
that one took a very short period of time.
Stacy, you
Time
took
to get
notes
snacks and
or
use the
Good. Somebody donated a whole bunch of them
I
to
know
City
that
Hall.
the family card.
Do you have dimensions of the interior stairwell?
And I know tile costs.
This
Square footage?
Yeah, that's square footage.
She's
I
asking
think
about
it's
side
actually-
views and then.
My intuition.
I keep kind of going back and forth. So the whole mural is tile, or some of it, the whole mural is tile.
Yeah.
So that's not be.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So what she was explaining is she'll do painting and she ships it off this company that
Yes,
enlarges.
and uses that color palette for.
Right.
They're doing the exact things that she paints. Yeah, not just the color.
I'm just like walking around with this, sorry.
And
And
so
that's
specific.
just so you all know, what is it clear and like, it's almost.
I wonder if what they produce is like pixels assembled like in these small tiles, or if it's actually the image printed on tile. It could both look really neat.
Okay, so really it is an inside or outside,
It's 507.
One of the other, and not one wall and staircase, just one wall.
So the stairway going down.
We did, yeah, one
Under
that's
the
a double.
Well, thank you, that was.
Yeah, according to those dimensions.
I do like that, actually, like, touch that I couldn't, I thought that was kind of nice.
Yeah.
I think it's very fun. I like the colors. Yeah, and it feels like there's a lot. Just a minute.
We're gonna go over and over it.
Yeah.
Second, third.
You're good. So,
But the interior stairwell is the wall that's like next to the stairwell.
Oh, no.
175 square feet.
No.
The exterior
No.
stairwell is
Hi,
100
Jerry.
about 400.
The what?
So you could-
Are you saying you're more about the paper? Jeremy,
Yes.
did you get some text this afternoon or yesterday or?
No.
From Jonathan?
No.
Seeing or drawing.
What about?
Phone messages?
Sure.
From Merriam, I'm gonna wonder.
No, what? No, I never heard back from them at all.
Okay, that's strange,
Uh-huh,
because, Chuck and I were there this afternoon
uh-huh,
for the luncheon at the Culinary Center,
uh-huh.
which was
Really?
really
Yeah.
impressive
Okay.
and wonderful. And Joanne was there and her sidekick in development, Stephanie was there.
Uh-huh.
And they kept saying, where's Jerry? We contacted her. Couldn't be there, and I said, hold it, am I confusing the days? Wasn't Jared there? There was. Oh, Jared's not there.
Yeah. No, then I didn't get any emails, text or anything.
So if I.
Well, they-
Yeah. I even went through my junk email.
Well, they're all in contact with you. They all actually in contact.
Yeah.
And they look for you. You know, and I used
That's okay.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a good time?
I've been trying to go to that dinner for years.
No.
I like it when people did this.
Hey, gang,
Yeah.
we're gonna start, and do the quick, city updates.
They're gonna be real fast, cause I don't have much.
Yeah.
First, for our birthday party this fall, we're hiring some guy, some artist, I believe he goes by the Doodle Dude, to create, you're familiar?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know his name, but yeah.
Yeah. Doodle Dude, he's gonna create a custom Merriam drawing. We're giving him about like 35 paper samples of like iconic Merriam things. He creates a line drawing, and then at our birthday party, everybody who attends can help color it in. So we will have a,
Like color with markers or like ink?
I'm not sure.
We just
I
did
thought it
that at my office last week. I helped put together the boards. Everyone really enjoyed it.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah. I think he said it's a guided coloring or painting, whatever experience. So, it won't just be like people scribbling all over the entire thing, but a little bit of the paint by numbers thing.
Where was that going to be?
We're gonna do it at our birthday party in October.
No, I meant where? The location, did you say the
Like
location?
where we're gonna put it when it's done.
Yeah.
That's not officially decided yet.
Is it like a board that's like,
I think so. Yeah.
do we know the size?
Sorry, I wanna say, yeah, it's okay. I wanna say it's roughly like 10 by 6 by 10 or 8 by 15, something like that.
Big.
But yeah, okay. For some reason, I think that it could potentially fit in the stairwell right over here. But there's currently a very old painting.
Cool.
So yeah, that's one thing that we're working on.
That's fun.
Yep. Other than that, I briefly talked to whoever was present at our last meeting about a little fun project for you all. Possibly doing your artistic thing to our Merriam letters. I have no plan for, but obviously there's only 7 letters in Merriam. So if 7 of you would like to pick a letter and take it home to be artistic with, they're here. We're good needs to know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Wouldn't it be
It
artistic?
used to be on the building back then.
Cut it up.
The fire department. It's right down there now.
No, it's over here now.
They're all in here, oh, yeah.
Yeah, do you look?
Are there more?
Grab.
Hearts in it.
Not on this one.
I'm the winner.
So next one.
Oh my God, what's that?
That's 2 R's.
Okay.
There's an E and then the I.
No, don't be. Okay. Oh, that is
Boring little eye.
I'll take the eye.
Okay,
I'm gonna get
I'm
that.
I'm taking an R. What was right? You were the first one after we're done.
Oh, I don't, there aren't any R's in the
Oh, look at that, right there.
We can just write on like a E, so like,
We'll look somewhere, I'm still really not sure
we
yet.
can just
Yeah.
Walking around City Hall, like, you go there. We'll see, we'll see what comes of it.
Your inspirations on which side's up.
She's an
Why did you get a nap?
What are Jason?
Four.
The pressure's too much.
My original last name was Mann.
What?
Yeah.
That's
The
right.
Scottish word.
Well, you have an awful day.
Joel.
It's a.
So if we paint it, does it need to be an
Thank you.
J or A N.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
all
it's
discussed.
Explore maybe?
Well,
It gets spelled wrong all the time.
Yeah, I know, I thought it was an O.
Do you know the new way to spell Jordan?
Oh, that's the way my niece spells hers. Jordan, with a Y. Do you want this?
No, good. The
Jan-
pressure.
You took it.
Yeah,
You
you
already
committed.
That doesn't just.
You committed. You
No, I
signed
didn't
a
commit.
contract.
I didn't.
Uh-oh. $8 million.
I just know that. I'll put it in the garden.
Did you get the eye? Oh, no, it has to come back.
So
It's
you have
not, you don't need to.
They
keep
probably
it.
have to decipher.
Wait, what's the deadline?
They have to come back.
It's gonna turn into wood or sign crazy or
They're being,
Oh, is this for the birthday party?
they're gonna be put back together in some interesting,
Okay.
in that
I
interesting.
said that it'd be fun to like, to sit on the community center when we like start like, talking about the project that's happening.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we should,
It's not-
it should be like a pet and we take it places and take pictures of it.
Oh my gosh.
And we all have to find each other different places and spell it.
You always have to have it on you, so you can put it on your keychain.
Everywhere.
It can be like,
Doesn't it have to
Did you
withstand
see
the
Emily?
elements, does it?
that's a drum.
The French movie.
Yes, we can
With
be
the
fun.
garden gnomes.
It's been a really long time.
Yeah. That's what she was
I
saying.
know, I
about
can't
garden
sew
gnomes.
through it, I used to thread as my thing, but I didn't like put it really
You
on.
can drill holes.
Where along your
Hey.
Oh, you can bring it over, we can drill holes in it and then you can sew on. Okay, I have a drill press.
You're a metal.
You could drill press.
Oh, yeah. You could
I will get it, we have a drill press.
We can change this.
Yeah, Dan, outside the box, think outside the box.
Yeah, you can do anything you want to it, right?
Yeah.
Does it have to come back as the letter that it was?
Yes.
No.
Is it gonna be put back together as the word
The
here?
metal pendant
Yeah.
on the
Okay.
bottom of it.
I was thinking maybe make some syrup.
These are the good things.
Okay, so it has to come
That's
back.
just Dave.
It has to come back and it has to stay the form that it left, which is
Who's the
decorated.
rapper with the metal,
Like
like
the clock.
the clock?
Yeah.
He's like really big.
So he's very into like,
Let's come back.
steal the story class.
Still love the letter.
Summer, because he like was trying to like the women's. The same letter.
Yeah, I mean, not really well, it's just like,
You could drill holes.
yeah.
You could put lights in.
I'm here for it, it just says, I don't really
Right. Well, then it was designed to be, assigned.
So it's not gonna be attached to the wall.
No, it is.
No, it will be, so don't alter the.
Have you seen the new documentary?
Yes, it is.
Well,
Yes,
that's-
it is.
You said if you wanted to
Yeah, I'm not
be
quite like wall,
Yeah.
they're quite designed.
But you-
A magazine.
They'll essentially just be props.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not long, how is it attached to the wall?
Yeah,
Do
they.
you have camera rings and everything?
Like double-sided screws.
Yeah, and then they said, epoxy into it,
I have all the books too.
Kind of what they do.
I were invited to the last.
I had to do all of my engineering from college on all my art.
They were screwed about that.
And then I got it, yeah,
Oh, my God.
yeah. And the worst part is that you had an assignment and you did your painting and everything, and you went to do the lettering and you realized you left the letter out. I remember,
Right. I had to do that too, I was, you know, the first letter in a magazine, you know,
Uh-huh.
when you have the
The
first
super-
letter,
Mhm.
and then you change the typeface.
Yeah.
You have to be steady.
Wow, yeah.
Interesting.
I learned that from
How about this?
Okay.
That's about it.
No, about the.
I just don't use it anymore though.
But
I
it's
should,
not.
because it's some pattern graph.
And this one.
Yeah, the one that do kind of an energy building.
I mean, I know it, yeah.
But did you see the pattern?
Yes. I know. I wanna use her machine, her little vacuum machine.
But
Yeah.
we do have a community recycling event.
She's very, she'll let you
So
use
it
it.
could be at the end.
I know.
Yeah.
I work at the community college though, and ours is working, and I'm like,
We'll bring that up to put in the, even a.
like, spend their money on.
So you asked about expansion, is that what makes you want to do more of
Yeah.
our lunch?
Yeah, if we see that, hey, we really like what they're doing, and we'd really like to expand on some of his questions and comments about the awning, or whatever it might be. Are we excited enough about that artist to say, hey, we're willing to expand the budget if you'll do X, Y, and Z?
They'll give
Or
them
X, or
anything
Z.
for their budget.
Well,
Do you teach at the JCC school? Did you say that? One of my friends just, got a job teaching the architecture department. So
Oh,
she'll be
nice.
starting in August, but.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I love it. I teach in fashion department.
Yeah, I figured, but like, yeah, she's really excited. So, it's actually Jacob that's on council, his wife.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun place. I like it.
My sophomore year of college,
I think we'll go ahead and start their Zoom,
fashion.
and maybe pop on it anytime.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Because they're saying that they use.
Maggie, can you still see okay?
Yeah, I can still see. Iron's fine, I go by either.
I know, that's what I was.
That's why I'm always kind of nagging with his family.
I know, and
You
you say
introduce
yellow,
us,
and
yeah.
then I'm always very.
When I'm being official,
Opposite
it's
of-
Mark.
My husband is Daniel, and he used to be called Danny, but like Dan's community.
I
Yeah.
love.
which wacky one?
The seating area is lobby. It has
Or
like
with the plane crash.
the plane crash and like, you can sit there and look at it, like my family and I stand there.
Is the proportions, I mean, purpose.
There was one.
That's your Easter egg built into it, it's like something
I
cool.
can't even remember that. There was one with the, see, no, it's not. Yeah, the one that has the seats, with people in the audience
And the flag or whatever.
Yeah.
The flag's on.
That's
The
one of
winner.
Jim's favorite pieces. This is
Watch my name, sit right up there.
Oh,
And when you come to city council meetings here.
I heard about this in chambers.
was
Well,
before.
that's just meeting council.
We're not like rushing
No,
anywhere. I don't think so.
We were clear.
Church members. Something do something with Nancy,
Well,
of course.
Are you gonna, the gas?
huh?
Are you gonna do gas?
I could easily.
St. Mark's United Methodist Church on Santa Fe.
Sense too.
I can do it.
Yeah.
They're great.
That's where I grew up, that's where I met my wife.
But, you know, does this go outdoors eventually?
It doesn't have to withstand the
No.
elements, that's what we
It's not
decided.
gonna go outdoors?
No.
Where's it gonna go?
It has to be able to hung again though, so you can't mess up with the back holes.
Huh?
The back hole's still right there.
They'll figure it out. They'll just set something.
Yeah,
They're just,
Oh, I guess there are, this one's gonna fine.
You can just.
let's not make it complicated, just do
Yeah.
something with them.
JB loves them, it's nice.
Oh.
You okay?
That,
So what's the plan?
the, thing that's great, thing is
Here's 5 minutes.
painting in the background.
I like that one much better.
We gave them specific.
Oh, well, there's special lighting just for this
I
painting.
think this is what.
I wonder.
So we got 5 minutes?
Ooh, there we go.
There it is.
Oh, that looks nice.
Yep.
Or do they do it 40 or 45?
45.
Oh, so the five.
They asked, they specifically asked for the last time because they had a project going on, so.
There it is. So they're on our time, that's what I was thinking. New Orleans.
Just walk around the room.
And Kara's in Nashville or New York. And she just had a baby.
I like your studio.
Oh, really?
Oh, can you tell us about, or did you put into, I guess I maybe didn't read it all, but, you said you had some conversations with their references?
Yes, with the Loggers Collective, yes. I was
So I
supposed
saw
to-
that email.
Two of them on the phone, and the third one sent his email earlier today. He did call me too, but I wasn't in time. Yes, the first one was so enthusiastic. Loved them so much, wanted to talk about them a lot. She really loved, different ways that they engaged the community. They came up with some really creative ideas, especially using like found objects. She was the one, for that really, really long bridge project. So it was a very complicated project, working with a lot of different departments, including the Department of Transportation. She was like, they navigated it amazingly, dealing through all the bureaucracy of that. Problem solved a lot, they met their deadlines, they were very flexible. They've gathered community input for that and did projects with kids. They built a little like playground thing under the bridge. I think out of, I can't remember what the materials were, but it's kind of like a really unique, interesting component to that one. Let's see. Since then, I think that was done long enough ago that there wasn't really like the UV protected and the graffiti stuff, anti-graffiti, stuff that's popular back then, so they did have one issue with it getting tagged, but they happened, the Loggers Collective, I guess they used to live in Miami, they happened to be driving through Georgia right after it happened, and they just stopped on their road trip and fixed it. Yeah. And went on their way. Yeah. Yep, so she said that they were, one of her absolute favorites and she would love to have them back. So she was very enthusiastic. The other one, Wilfred, he worked on that hotel project with them, which was that massive staircase. He said it was like super collaborative. They ended up doing like way beyond what they could even imagine when they started the project, because they had great suggestions on what else to do or how to keep transforming it. They worked very quickly and finished early. They were also very good at pointing out various obstacles that they came across. Something about a speaker that maybe needed to be painted around. During that time, since it was a hotel project, it didn't really have community engagement component to it, but he said they kind of embedded themselves into the community and got to know a lot of locals, especially some area businesses, and they sort of brought community to the hotel and helped the hotel build a sense of community and connection with their own community that they didn't have before, so he really appreciated that. Oh, hello. Hello.
So you're muted. Hold on, you're muted.
Do you hear us?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All right.
Wonderful.
You're not in your car this time.
Here's my screen here. Oh, okay, sorry. Let's see. No, I don't want to do a recording. Sorry, y'all.
Yeah. Oh.
Did I give you permission?
Alright, hold on, it's asking us to do some security.
Some security thing, let's see.
Just check them all on. Oh, it's Zoom. That's what it was. Okay.
Sorry, you guys.
No worries.
Okay.
Oh, I think we have to quit and reopen it, y'all.
Okay.
We'll be back. Sorry.
We'll be here.
Okay.
They were in the car last
Yeah.
time.
Lauren, can you tell us real quick and all the hearts we found?
No, I can't.
Did anyone in this group find them?
Okay. Let's see if this works now.
Yay. Yay.
Wonderful.
Yay. All right, cool. Well, my name is Felicie.
I'm Joey.
It's nice to see you today. Let's go
Full screen.
to
Okay.
full screen mode.
Okay, so,
We just wanted to briefly go over some of our old work, just in case anyone in the committee hasn't seen it yet. So this is a piece from a couple of years ago that's at the Arlo Wynwood in Miami. It's a hotel in the Mural District. Here's an upstairs view.
and we're kind of including those because we were thinking about doing something similar with the stairs and Merriam, so.
Yeah, this is like a little shrimp installation that we made for Florida Rama in Petersburg, Florida. It's kind of like a celebration of all things shrimp.
We started like multiples when we did that project, and it kind of got us thinking about doing murals and stuff that had some like 3D or partially 3D elements. And this was it's a little mural we did in Columbia, South Carolina. We just like this one, just not really a particular.
This is a project that we did for Decatur, Georgia in 2017, and the project actually ended up expanding to include, beyond this mural that's on both sides, to also include this like kind of park play space underneath the overpass, because it's like where the kids got picked up from the bus stops, and it has like this twister game, as you can see right here, and those chime instruments in the background in the other photo were also like able to be played, because we did some community engagement with the kids, and they wanted a musical element to their play space, so we added that in. This is a piece that we did at the Mocha Jacksonville in downtown Jacksonville, Florida, and this inflated little blob guy with a happy face. That was like a space that you can enter, and inside were like soft sculptures you could sit on, and like an organ you could play, and a bunch of like interactive stuff. So that was like a really fun, cool piece, and the height in the space kind of reminded me a little bit of the parking garage space.
This was one of our recent exhibitions in New Orleans at the Ogden Museum, and we started using these little chunks of pattern that we made using recycled paper and cement and some leftover paint, and so we kind of started this process of like transforming the patterns that we paint into like physical things that also have some kind of like connection to a waste stream, because we're interested in reuse of a lot of our art. This whole show was
in collaboration with the teen interns and focus on recycling. It was for the Youth Climate Action Week.
So all the materials were had some degree of being recycled or reused.
There's the next image I think is a close-up shot.
So that was, yeah, those flowers are all made out of paper pulp, and we made some of those with the teens, and all of the little patty cake, like pattern things, are also the same material, papercrete, and we made some of those with some of the teen interns too. And then we're also recently got into making ceramics, and that kind of like opened our eyes to like the possibility of making things that are like more sustain, like can withstand the elements better. Paint is like, it holds up okay, but it's not the same as like ceramic or tile. So we're just thinking about using ceramic elements for some of the outdoor elements. This is our design for the stairs. So all of the exterior stairs, yeah. We would make all of those tiles
On the stair face.
on the stair face. Those would be tiles that we would make in ceramic and apply to it. And then the right side would be a painted mural. This design, we were thinking about seasons change and you know, the colors that happen when seasons change. So yeah, that was kind of our idea with that. And this is what the mural would look like from the side.
And yeah, we thought that the shapes kind of maybe reference like seeds or like leaf shapes too. So kind of referencing like a more natural sort of vibe. And then for the interior space, we generated a pattern using some native plants to your area, which is like what you see in the florals. And we're also thinking about making a vinyl cling that goes on the windows so that the pattern would also interplay with the shadows coming in and the natural light that you guys are so lucky to have in this space. And then for the top part of the installation, we would incorporate those elements that are similar to what we were showing you from our show from the Art Museum with the pattern being in the 3D. And we were thinking that if there was interest, that we could make this stuff with people in the public or artists in the area that would maybe want to be assistants. And this is kind of our preliminary idea too. Like obviously our main concern is to make something that fits best for y'all and something that's like the community has stake in. So we're open to like any kind of edits or redesigns or, you know, community engagement sessions that need to happen to make that happen for you guys in the right way. As far as the timeline is going, we're imagining that it'd probably take about 7 weeks to execute everything from, you know, tip to tail. And we think that it would take, the first week we would want to come and do like an artist talk and do some workshops and kind of start getting to meet people in town. And also at that time we begin producing the 3D elements and the tiles and stuff for the installation. And in week 2 we imagine to begin doing our priming, our site prep and painting, and any kind of base gradients and background colors that need to get applied to the painting spaces. And, oh wait, you know what, I've got another slide here that's got a detailed map too for y'all. So that's just like kind of a base idea to kind of like go through this like color gradient.
We're thinking that these colors would be referential to the other space too, still like,
kind of visually tied.
Like in the bottom areas, it's kind of like there's natural plants and native plants worked into the design, and then up here it's almost like the season change again. And we wanted to keep this stuff a little bit higher than people could like grab down.
Just for maintenance and.
Kind of looks like something you'd want to climb. So thinking about that. mean, do you all want us to go through like budgets and stuff, or, what?
We've got a pull up over here too, like after this image, so we can just pull that up as well. And then we kind of wrote about our concepts in here too.
Have y'all seen this stuff yet, or should we like?
Yeah.
You have? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that we didn't talk about as much is maybe like our ideas for workshops, but we would really like love to teach how to use this paper pulp material because we're really into bringing in sustainability into our practice and spreading that to other people as well, because for us, like, art's something that's for everyone, and we want people to know that even if they don't have money for art supplies and stuff, that there's things that you can do to be creative that can allow you to make things that are pretty much beyond your wildest dreams, you know? Yeah, and like that's like what the element that makes us the most excited about coming to Merriam is just to meet everyone and get more community and become involved with everything that's going on and meeting people. That's, you know, why we got into doing this stuff, so, yeah.
Is there, should we just do questions now, or do you want us to?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. A little bit quicker than.
That's fine.
Yep.
Go
Go ahead, Jan.
Go ahead.
Love it. I mean, it's really great and it's so much fun.
Oh, thank you.
I mean,
appreciate
it just, you know, it's fun, it's gonna be fun for children to see these images. I did wanna ask, how'd you guys start out? How'd you meet? How did you figure this? How'd you pick your name?
Lisa and I.
Yeah, our group's name's pronounced Milagros, and it's Spanish for miracles, or Milagros. And we met in art school in Tallahassee at FSU.
We started a gallery there while we were kind of graduating undergrad, like our last 2 semesters or something.
Yeah, like the year before we graduated.
And we started doing like group shows with a bunch of our friends, and that's when Milagros started. And it was there were more people involved at first, but you know, as time goes on, you know, they move on to different places, and we still go back and work with a lot of those people still, but it's mostly just me and Felicie now.
Yeah, and then we got our first, like, we were doing a lot of big murals, like immersive murals and stuff, and installations for music and art shows at the space that we were running in Gainesville, Florida. And that kind of led us to make the transition from just doing these more DIY and studio things into doing public art, because we realized that we were like honing in on this skill and like bringing people into what we were doing, but that there was a much greater community that we could be reaching out to.
Yeah, and our first public project was in Jacksonville, Florida in 2013.
Yeah.
That was where we got our first like pretty big commission, and that was like a piece that was about the St. Johns River, and it was pretty crazy because we just went from like pretty much working in studios and stuff to like being 65 feet up in the air, and we're like, oh my god, like what are we doing?
Yeah. It was a trial by fire a little bit, but we got bit by the bug, and here we are.
But yeah, we continue to like do community-based projects and work in spaces for a long time, since like 2009 we've been working together. And now we're in New Orleans, and it's been going good.
Yeah, we still have to travel a decent amount, but yeah.
But right now we're not in New Orleans. Right now we're in Miami. We're staying with Felicie's family, because we that hotel that we did the stairs for brought us back to paint like a mural on the front of the ground of a restaurant that they're opening, and we just finished that up. So about to head back home soon.
Jerry?
I have a couple questions. The first floor of the stairwell, Is that all paint then?
Yeah, that's what we were thinking, it would be all paint. My main concern was, just people being able to like rip stuff down if it's in, reaching distance.
Does it have to be so green?
So green. Oh, I mean, we could do something different. I don't know, a lot of,
Well,
yeah.
what I was thinking, I would be reluctant to go up the stairs because I would think there would be more green walls. It seems like there's no flow from this to all of a sudden you have the more textured stuff at the bottom. And it seems like it would be nicer with more of a transition.
We could definitely rework that and, you know, think about that for sure.
And the materials above, then, are they all ceramic, or are they part of or are some of these the paper, sculpture?
Yeah, the interior ones, the ones above the green mural, that would be the paper pulp and cement.
Okay.
And then the stair tiles would be the ceramic stuff.
And it can still be applied with the tile mastic too, so that it goes with the fire code.
Oh, okay, okay. And so the wall, to the right of the staircase, if you're looking up, there's no texture on that, that is all paint on that wall. I think that's what you said. On the exterior stairs?
Yeah.
On the exterior stairs, that would be a painted mural. The part that is not the stair faces.
And there'd be tiles on the stair risers.
Yes, on the risers, yes.
Other individuals, yeah.
I have a technical question. For the stairs, have you ever applied, tiles to the risers like that? Like, what would the edge condition kind of look like for safety?
Yeah, I think that the top edge, we would probably have to get like some trim, like the little like quarter circle trim things. I've applied some tile. I haven't applied tile to stair risers before, so it's probably going to seek out somebody to help with the installation of that.
Awesome, thank you. And then really quick on like the community engagement component, have you ever done like a workshop with the community for your paper whole process, or how do you envision that going? Like, would it be all ages, or would you want to kind of divide? So like, I have a 7-year-old and she would love this, so just kind of thinking about that.
I think there's two distinct workshops that we'd like to do. One of them is all ages, and we call it a Cred Buddies workshop, where we have different found objects and typically we use like styrofoam that we find, but we cover those in paper pulp, and then
we let the kids like make little facial features and stuff to put on them, and we have like an area where there's like basically like birth certificates where they name them and come up with stories for them, because you know kids are all attracted to different parts of the creative process. So maybe one kid that gets more into decorating their Cred Buddy wouldn't be as excited as naming it, but some kids just only want to be like on the name thing the whole time, and they're like decorating it and coming up with these elaborate backstories. So there's that element of it, but yeah, we also worked with the public doing the paper pulp workshop with the Ogden Museum too. So we did a family day where it was people of all ages, and then we also worked with the teen interns too.
And the other workshop that we want to do is making like planters out of the papercrete material, and that would be more geared to like adults or people who have like a stronger basis in craft or want to know about it. So that would be the two different workshops we would want to do.
Thank you.
A follow-up question to the tile. I like the idea of tiles. My question to you is, would you guys be manufacturing those there or here? And then our freeze-thaw scenario here is brutal. So, you know, using stoneware as opposed to earthenware for tiles is pretty critical. Whereas, you know, in earthenware you get a lot more color, but it's going to be destroyed within 2 years. do our
Okay,
first off.
that's good to know, yeah,
Yeah, we'll probably, for that, we would talk to one of the local ceramics experts, I think, to
Okay.
see what would make the most sense to do, and then we would probably readjust the colors based off of like
What was
what is
available.
available glaze wise.
and then I think we're gonna match the mural to the tile instead of the other way around, so
Sure.
that.
Makes sense.
Just kind of like the idea of being able to stand there and like be completely enveloped in it for like a photo or something, so, but yeah, that's good to think about for sure.
Other questions? Yep, go ahead, Jane.
The workshops sound great. I mean, I would sign up for a workshop tonight. And Jerry,
Yeah.
I love the green. It's personal, but to me, this may not be vibrant enough. But I love this, the combination, this combination is,
I like it too, Jan.
oh, good.
And I also like how you guys did the under part of the stairwell, like, so the stairs that are coming down, you can see that you're thinking about that part, as well. I like that consideration. And I thought the transition was good, because you have those like plants, and then it meets like it's almost like a starry night, kind of.
Yeah, it
like.
is. It
So,
is.
I don't know, but yeah, I got it.
We could do a couple of variations if we get selected, and we can just see what people think. It's not that hard.
In terms of your workshops and, thinking about the schedule, in terms of your timeline to meet delivery for our, 75th anniversary event, and I know, Stacy, you had mentioned that we have a, paper shredding event, I think in September, but.
Oh, wow.
So maybe that you do that at the end of your installation as opposed to beginning or something along those lines. But
Yeah.
aligning those, if you were chosen, would seem to be a really relevant, element.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a community recycling event, and I think it's like towards the end of September, and I can't remember the exact date right now, but we do like a big shredding thing,
Cool.
where people bring their documents, you know, and then we like, they bring printers, you know, kind of like that, being able to recycle things and, yeah.
Yeah, and that material, you can work really quickly with it too, so, if it was even like within a pretty, I don't know, if we would be able to use those materials for the installation, I'm pretty sure, if we're at that time.
I apologize, I forget, what did you say that you guys would be using for the windows?
Oh, it would just be like a vinyl cling, and we would probably just cut, the shapes out, by hand.
Okay.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Just to finish Stacy's thought, last year, the recycle event was September 28th.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Well, if we have to do.
We can do
that's fine
a
too.
pre-cycle.
Yeah.
We can certainly come up with paper.
Yeah.
We'll get paper for you. Other questions from the group?
Your work is delightful.
I think one other question I would have is, it seems that you're open to, suggestion, change, or even expansion of the project if we saw opportunity for that, which obviously means expansion of budget, but you're open to those ideas, correct?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we're-
Yeah.
I know it's gonna turn down money, but I want to make sure, you know, so, yeah. Okay, great.
Well, thank you guys so much for your time and your consideration. We really appreciate you spending your evening with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
What?
No, I can turn it off if I don't, but I guess we might need to pull out.
Are you in Lawrence right now?
Yes, yeah.
What's the background there? So, where are you?
I'm in my apartment right now.
That's the wall of her apartment. She's got it all decorated.
Oh, yeah.
It's got-
Looks good. Looks good.
Thank you.
Next time I think you should join us from Free State or somewhere.
Oh, God. Yes.
I'm a little louder there.
Let
Yes.
us enjoy the college life with you.
All right, I guess let's get into the meat of the discussion of possible winner.
Still going to eat.
What's that?
I think still going to eat. I was appreciating one day.
No, she's not.
The cheese dip is
6
still
months.
good. You can go ahead and get cheese dip. 6 months coming.
All right, you know, I don't know of any formal process for this. I think just having an open discussion, is probably the wisest. So anyone who has, I guess, I would approach this the same way I kind of did us getting to this point, which is there any of them that we don't want? Is there any of them that were like, you know, I think that's the least of my favorites of the three? Is there any consensus in regards to that?
I was actually gonna see if we could just expand the budget and have them all. Just kidding. Just kidding. I know we can't, but it would be fun, right?
Anyone who's brave enough to start that process? Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like Beth, has always, the weakness of, and it didn't offer as much as I think the other two. I started out really liking Milagros, but then I was very impressed with Tara, like the presentation. So, but if we were thinking about eliminating one, I would suggest, maybe just my opinion, maybe Beth.
Yeah, in playing off of that, I think one of the things that concerned me with Beth's, outside of my own personal taste, are the other two seem to be far more interested in one of our most important things, which is the community engagement and getting involved with what it is we're really wanting. What is it that's, you know, going on here? How can we adjust to meet your guys' wants and needs? How can we be a part of this and feel good about it? And I felt that Beth's presentation was very disconnected. It's just a thing. I'll hire a bunch of people. You'll get your stuff. It'll go on. Have a nice day. And
Yeah.
I don't think that's what we're looking for, regardless of the work or what it is or what it isn't. I just don't think that's the experience we're hoping for.
No, I think her work is really beautiful, and I love the tiles, like the tile colors that she sent, but I have to kind of agree with you.
Yeah.
On some of your points as well.
So then, do we just right out of the gate choose to remove Beth from the conversation?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
everybody okay
Sure.
and comfortable with that? Margaret?
Yep.
Okay. I know, we just got the chance, didn't it? Yeah. Okay, so that's out. So then we get to, Kara and Milagros. I think your comments in regards to your, you know, your mental process and how that flowed was very helpful. What's other people's thoughts in regards to that?
When I walked in tonight, Milagros was my kind of top candidate, and they still are. I really like their community engagement and the referrals. I was gonna ask you, more on what the referrals were like for, did you talk to people for the other two, or? They were all attached. They were all attached, okay.
Yes, Kara's they all just responded by email. They were all
okay.
super professional, all very positive. But, I think they said, feel free to call if you have further questions, but, so that was it, what I sent you guys. That's all two, so, now we got one person. And Milagros, yes, the one email and the other two phone conversations, I think the only thing I didn't quite get to say about the conversation with the hotel guy. Where are you on these papers? Give me these papers. This one. When I asked him about maintenance, especially because they painted like the surface of the stairs there and like the ground surfaces, he said, like, I think initially there was like a little bit of issue with power washing, but then they like figured out the materials and an outdoor mural, but
It's that big.
fantastic, that's that big, yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Also, Cecilia's, they rehired them just now.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they were just like.
Yeah, see, that's the same sentiment of like, loved working with them, would love to keep working with them.
It's really telling when someone gets rehired.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because they mentioned when they were talking that
Yeah.
the hotel company
Yes.
just rehired them. That's
I
what
did
they were
hear
doing.
that.
Jerry?
But this,
Well, I really like Milagros, and I really like Carol Lynch, I'm very torn. But really, to me, Milagros fell down on the interior stairwell. It's just, I mean, I will never, if you guys want that solid green on the first floor, I will never vote for that. To me, it's oppressive. Oppressive and not, it just doesn't engage you, you know,
So-
yeah.
So in regards to that, it's more the color, not the design?
Well, I think it's the solidity of it too.
Of the color.
Yeah.
So if they adjusted it and met your,
Yeah.
your request for, so this is concept, right?
Yeah.
So if they were adjusting that to integrate more color variants and things like that, you'd be less, have less issue with it.
Right,
Is that
right,
correct?
right,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
I think their Milagros is very, very flexible, and they work within that.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, I'm always reluctant to ask an artist. to
no,
choose.
no, I think you
know,
can do
yeah.
that for,
Yeah, it's
I
ours.
think you can
mean,
do
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
With, you know.
We're buying it.
Right, we're
Yeah.
buying it, I know.
Yeah, and this, that wouldn't be a big ask. But I thought this reference from Zach, from Milagros, the long reference, that's spectacular with what he had to say with working with them and working with them over years.
Yeah, agreed.
I think they would be the best for community, and I think that's what we need. And I just think they'd be the best.
So in terms of Kara, I know a lot of us, I know I followed a similar mental pattern as you in that Milagros was my clear, you know, I was leaning that way from the proposals and et cetera. And once seeing Kara's discussion and her methodology, I felt myself moving more in that direction. Now, when I really forced myself to analyze why is that, I think a lot of it was not because of her mural portion, it was because of the glass and the awning idea.
Yeah.
Whereas Milagros, I really like the ideas around their design in the stairwell with adjustments to meet our needs. I mean, you're right, that was pretty intense. I love green, so I didn't have a problem with that, but I get your point. Maggie and I were discussing that. It was so stark between one and the other. I think your point in that regard was very poignant. So I think having those open discussions with them to have something that we like better. So I'm leading this conversation in a very specific way. And that is, well, is there an opportunity, and this may fix that, is, you know, I love the awning. Why can't we have Kara do something along the staircase outside, doing all of that portion in the exterior, and Milagros doing the interior? Is that something we want to think about, or not? Or, you know, I'm just throwing it out there, you know. But I know that's what drew me more to Kara's, was her use of the acrylic materials to create plays on light. It's, you know, there's a certain, I like that. I don't know what other words to use. I think her sense of materials was a little more evolved, but maybe it's more Milagros just hasn't learned the vernacular to talk about it, as opposed to Kara's very experienced in her ability to convey what it is she's doing with materials, the technology behind it, et cetera.
She is very well.
So, but I don't know, I'm still leaning Milagros.
The only one thing that I would say Kara would have going for her over Milagros would be, her work in areas that do have that, you know, freeze thaw cycle.
Right.
And, I mean, New York is.
In its own way.
So that would be I mean, Milagros is, I think, I really like them, I like the classes that they wanna, offer. But if you know, that would be like my only one other point that I was thinking.
So,
I'm a textile artist, and so I should be leaning towards Kara, but there is nothing about the patterns that she uses
yeah,
that are interesting to me in any way. I feel kind of harsh saying that, but it looks like she just picked basic patterns off of Canva or something and put them together.
I second that
It
wholeheartedly.
feels
I'm
like
trying to think of the
yeah.
most elegant way to say that, but like, not only that, but it kind of looks to me too, that she like copy pasted from another
Yes.
project. Like,
Yes.
she didn't really put like deep
Yeah.
thought into, oh, how will I make this their own with my own fingerprint? It
Yes.
was like a copy paste.
Or
from
for
that
us,
person.
or for the
Yeah.
community, or anything like that. And I feel she has so much knowledge about her projects, but I felt like she is on autopilot at this point, whereas like the Milagros Collective feels to me like they were actually inspired and thought about our community and like what they can do for us and what we can do for them and how like they will grow as artists because of this. And I'm so like for the underdog type of people, and they seem like they are, like they're not fully fleshed out, like artists having dealt with every situation, but that they're so willing to like, yeah, we'll do it, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, they're willing to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, and they will figure it out, you know, they have shown that they immerse themselves in the community, so yeah, they'll find people at the Belger, clay studio or whatever to help them figure out like what will work for this environment
I
or
think
whatever.
in terms of your concerns, Jerry, I think at the very end, you know, the statement that, yes, we're willing to completely accommodate, adjust to the needs of the community. Hopefully, if they're the ones that are chosen, will assuage some of your concerns. I understand them completely.
Well, I don't wanna be too harsh, because I really like them. I really like them. And then, you know, I like Kara's, idea for the exterior structure. But when you look at it, it looks like it's tacked on.
Yeah.
It doesn't really.
And if she finds someone to make it for $10,000,
Huh?
if she finds someone to make it, sorry, this is my like
Yeah.
fabrication range, if she finds someone to make it for $10,000, I just don't feel like it's gonna be the like most longevity situation, so, yeah.
I don't entirely agree. We fabricate stuff down at our shop a lot in that regard, and it can definitely be done powder coated steel in terms of that structurally, because you're not putting a lot of weight on it. And again, I'm just being a devil's advocate.
There doesn't- it has to
And
be
I
a
should
snow
keep my
level.
mouth shut, so, alright.
I'm gonna throw in the staff comments at this point.
Sure.
Well, we like the awning, and it seems very interesting. There was lots of concerns about it.
Sure.
For maintenance potential, the capacity for snow load on it was a big one. And also the general community sentiment about, having a covered walkway from the parking structure into the community center. Apparently that's a very regular complaint that I was unaware of before this. Yeah, so there's concern that having it over here is gonna make people more mad that there's not covering over here.
I'm glad you did that.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanna say one thing, look up there, do you see that black hole under the stairwell? Do you see that? Did you see like that area under the stairwell? Oh my gosh, did you see how they made a playground under the bridge for that one project? Could you imagine what they could do something cool and funky under there?
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Like almost like a little nook or something, or like.
Yeah, I don't know. Let it be up to, leave it up to them. I bet they would figure out a way to like incorporate that. I think that would be so cool.
Sorry, it's gonna be loud for a minute.
One last thing that I would say too that I really enjoyed was that, like, I liked how they connected the Kansas by using the native plants. Like, the green is the pattern of native plants, which I really, it wasn't just a Google search and like on Kansas. Yeah. It was like, oh, what are the native plants here? And then to tie that into like them having that community where you're gonna make a pot. I
thought was really clever, so I was like, oh, we're gonna get native plants then.
I think we're gonna have them here physically more than any of the other animals.
Yeah.
Which is positive from my, you know.
Yeah.
They said 7 weeks on their family. I interpreted that as they intended to be here for 7 weeks.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
and they're one of them and continue to go through that, they were like, we're gonna do this, like, one, we're gonna do this, and two, and I was like, wow. I try to do that for myself, but not ever. And their budget was more like to pay. No, go ahead. I think more of their budget went to like pay their time and labor, meaning that like they would
Yeah.
be putting in the time and the labor for it.
Yeah.
Because it's not really speaking about budget, I think the materials budget is very low,
I agree.
very low.
For which one, everybody?
Well, just their budget for masking and painting and things like that, they're not gonna get it, they're not gonna buy all that stuff for that.
And that tile's not gonna be $2,000.
Right, right, no doubt, right.
Custom tile like that. Yeah.
I agree with Jordan, totally.
Yeah, this never
Yes, I
happens.
know it never happens. And, you know, I just think Milagros has the energy too. I mean, they're the most energetic. They're not as verbal as Carl. But they're more unconventional too. And, I kind of felt like her forms were very conventional. I mean, it was like, oh, I've seen that
Yeah.
before in terms of design. I wasn't knocked back by the forms. I mean, yeah. And, you know, they're just plain creative, and they want to do it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
And they've gone through the whole process. This is a hard process for anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, all the time they had to put in with this, yikes.
I think the information about their ability to navigate, doing all of the items on the giant bridge, gives me a lot of, positive encouragement. In terms of this, do we as committee members have any more comments? Because I would like to see if you guys want to have an opportunity for our council representatives to say something if they'd like.
Yeah.
You don't have to, just, you know, and we're not gonna, you know, bend to your will in any way, shape, or form, but if you want an opportunity to just say anything, so. Well, you can go first.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I don't wanna, alter anyone's conversation, but I think my feelings align very similarly with where you guys are. Yeah, I think Kara was so deep. My project manager hardly loved that, like the way she outlined everything and the people she's worked with and things like that. It was very put together, but it's not super innovative to me. I think she had more opportunity to push the patterns and things like that, like you also did. So, and I just, the energy from a lot of those, just, they do feel a little more, less put together in like terms of like how they're doing it, but I kind of enjoyed that in some way. But I would say like the community engagement component I think is really big, and that's something that as a council person, I wasn't on council when we've done our last public art projects, but I think that's something that potentially has been missing a little bit from some of our other public art projects. And so I just think any way that we can bring art to the masses in a hands-on way is really interesting, and I think there's a lot of community like partnership we could help create with them, like with Travis Casey or something like that too, or you know Magpie Collective, like all these great reuse centers. So that's my 2 cents.
I actually don't think we could go wrong with either Kara or Milagros. You all swayed me. I was really kind of leaning towards Kara because I really liked the awning, but learning about the city's concern. But I have a couple concerns about the Milagros, mostly the exterior. I don't think it's as vibrant and lively as the interior. I don't think it was like last minute decision on how to design that, but I don't think it has as much attention to detail as the interior. So I would really like to see maybe
So, oh, sorry, let me.
Oh, that's fine.
Finish your statement.
And then I do have concern, and this is more of like a codes question, but if they adhere tile to the riser, that's gonna change the tread, and I'm not sure if it's.
Why I asked the
I feel like they're narrow stairs anyway, so I have
They're
to.
code.
I know, but are they just, like if you,
I don't know.
E code after that.
Yeah.
In terms of that, if you add a quarter inch for the tile and an 8 to a 16-inch for the mortar, you're adding, 3/8 to each run, but you're equally adding that to the
Right.
run. I think the more poignant question was what you asked.
well, if they do
In
the
terms of
bullnose.
the edge
I
of
think
it.
The trends will wind up being the same.
It's almost for all the same.
If they do a bullnose or something, if the tile doesn't come to the top of the stairs, it does.
It has to have some kind of, it has to
Yeah,
have.
they'll do it
Sure.
clear.
Yeah.
It could be
Yeah.
that or bullnose tile is
Yeah.
another option, but that adds usually too much depth,
Yeah.
which then you start to mess with the run
And then you
on
start
your
to-
stairwell.
That was,
Did staff have a comment about the tile?
Well, I didn't ask for feedback from the one who I know will until we know that this is or isn't happening yet. However, yes, I'm sure there will be concerns over
And then
codes.
yeah.
and then I have,
My
sorry.
personal thought on that was like, it would be probably much easier if they chose to do paint on
Yeah.
the stairs and then some sort of tile work on the exterior wall.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But
But again, I think those are,
They're very,
I think those are-
flexible things.
Yeah.
I think those are
Flexible and
conversations, if
adaptable.
they're chosen, those are conversations in the final, item that they present, so,
Sorry, I have one more quick comment, unless
Yep.
you're continuing on that.
Nope.
So knowing what I know about the vandalism that has happened in the interior of the community center, vis-a-vis the locker rooms, the appliques on the interior that are gonna be the pulp and concrete mix, I think that really should probably be put far away from anyone being able to touch
I
it.
think they mentioned that.
They did.
But it is above the.
It's above 7 feet.
Yeah.
The door's at 7 feet, so like, I think they need to
Okay.
pull it up a little higher.
But that was,
yeah, I agree with
that was
you.
my only
Yeah.
concern about
And they
that.
did talk about that, so
And they
it's in
did.
their
Yeah.
mindset.
Yeah, I know they said it, I just like, right there by the railing, it looks like it's right at.
Right here?
Yeah,
I see, I didn't even think about that, like being able to reach over.
Yeah.
I think there's adjustments that could be
yeah,
made.
but besides that, like I said, I don't think we could go wrong with either of these, but you all have sold me on the Milagros, team, and I think with some changes, they do a great job. And we always, like, we did go with the underdog when we chose Julia. Julia. So, it's not outside of our.
Alright, so that's the last of your.
That's all I have to say.
So, they're out, go ahead, Jen.
Just Milagros is resourceful.
Yeah.
Which I think is
Yeah.
valuable if you're in the arts, you better be resourceful.
Incredibly creative.
Oh, yeah,
So,
yeah.
I think we've had some good, discussion and debate on these items. Is there anyone on the committee who has anything else they want to add or say in regards to this?
I just wanted to ask about the community feedback
Um,
and where that kind of landed. I looked through it, obviously I didn't like tally, and I think you did, but like.
I sort of did,
Yeah.
a little bit.
Milagros.
Yes, Milagros clearly generated the most enthusiasm from people, most positive comments for sure. I went through and highlighted negative comments on here, and there were like almost none. There's a couple, not so crazy about the gradient of the icon. Steps are a little busy. AI tech generated feel. I think that's just the nature of a rendering.
Yeah.
I assume. And not relevant, but clearly it is relevant. They, more thoughtful about the native plants to the area, I think, so.
Jan?
I only give so much credit to the community feedback, because I think a lot of it is based on just seeing a short image and not actually knowing
All the
much of
details.
the details of it,
I
but,
appreciate you doing that, that was super.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, I think that's helpful.
yeah.
Maggie, do you want to say something?
I mean, a lot of my opinions have already been said, so I'm sharing a lot of the you in her organization and just her whole presentation in general. So I was really, I don't know, I was confident in her ability to, I don't know, give us something that we're gonna like. Although I did agree that the patterns were, a little simple, like it wasn't, it didn't wow me, I guess. But I did like her attention to the detail about combining or bringing in the yellow and blue from the Merriam logo. I was like, okay, there. So she actually, did some sort of research and looked into, okay, what can I bring into this? But overall, Milagros, their patterns, I think, were more eye-catching. Though I kind of agree with the busy remark, especially for the outside staircase. It did make me a little dizzy, not gonna lie. But I think it was still more intriguing for someone who was maybe walking by and being like, oh, hey, that's cool, I might go check that out. I don't know. And I think with the interior green part, though it is a lot of green, I think it provides an opportunity to put hidden images in if they're open to it, because you do kind of have to look at it and look at the patterns, and it kind of makes you think, oh, is there something hidden in here? I don't know, that's just kind of my take on that. And then the use of lighting in the windows, they both did that, and I think that'll be really successful either way.
Further comment before we move to some kind of vote?
I have a quick question for Lauren. Is there an opportunity for us to put a plaque that explains the connection to Merriam?
Sure.
Like native plants and.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think every piece of our art has a plaque.
They've all got different studies.
Okay, great, thank you.
And it'll go on the page.
That's a technical.
That made me
And
go.
And an AutoCAD, yes.
That's what they call label copy in museums.
All right, so guys, I guess we would just put to I'm just gonna say hands on Milagros, and
With the caveat that we want to see some other approaches.
I saw everyone, is that what I just saw? So hands on
I
Kara,
don't even know.
hands on Kara.
So it was
She raised
unanimous?
hers on Milagros.
Was it
It
unanimous?
was, so I think it's unanimously Milagros, with the caveat of them being very open to adjustments to the overall design based on our desires and I don't know. Did you get what I'm trying to
Yes,
say?
got it. Which is like Veronica logos. Our platform board submitted, who seconded that, so who seconded? Jordan seconded this. And then it was unanimous.
I have a quick question. Do we want to keep the paper so they can use it?
Right on.
Then we can start stashing away paper.
I didn't even know we did shred it.
And
I
oh my
know,
gosh,
I
if love you that.
do a free shred-a-thon, there'll be paper.
That's
for it.
true.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
we
not
have a
like-
community recycling event, I'm sorry, so city council plug, we have a community recycling event every September, and we do it with Shawnee, and it's like, you can bring small electronics and paper, and, yeah, it's
Didn't
great.
know.
It's in the parking lot of, used to be Lee Jeans, it's now Nations Holdings.
It'll be on the calendar.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
And more logistical questions. Would we like them to do any revisions to their proposal before we bring it to council to get final approval? Or just work with them on revisions after it is approved by council?
What do you counsel?
What do you,
Well,
what do council members
you
think?
don't present the art to council, you just present.
I would include their proposal
you would.
in the,
Their whole
in the
proposal,
council
okay.
packet, yeah.
Why not just run with it the way it is?
And just say they're very flexible,
And
like,
say
especially
how-
if you don't like the tile.
Yeah,
just say
they're-
or whatever.
Wording it as, this is the conceptual idea behind what they're going to do.
Yeah, I think just as long as you talk about some of the caveats you talked about, and I know that Jacob will ask questions
questions about the staircase and like, you know, things like technical
Yes.
questions.
Yeah.
So, you know, prefacing it with like, this is conceptual and.
Yeah. Okay. I'll have our codes guy look at it too for them, so it can help with staff vetting.
Yeah, Jim.
You've done so well with running with all this stuff, and I say keep running. Let's not slow down.
Keep that in mind.
Okay. Somewhat related, the other staff comment that I got from a few staff members was that they really loved the window work that Karen did and thought it would work well at City Hall. So, there's.
That can be a follow-up conversation.
Yes.
Okay.
And we're working on a project too, right?
Yes, there's a renovation scheduled for later this year for
Yeah.
the lobby area.
And those of you that were on the first committee, that's part, they're like kind of taking some of the initial designs from, Clark Anderson, from our public art. Do you guys remember when we talked about renovating City Hall a little bit, and did the sunscreen and stuff? No? Okay.
No, I
It's like 2019, yeah.
It happened.
So.
All right, any other business from the floor or otherwise? Okay, I would make a motion to adjourn.
Before everybody, I'd just like to say one thing on behalf of myself, and I know the council, I'm pretty sure our council's on. We appreciate what you guys have done. I just want to sit in, I appreciate the opportunity to sit in and listen, because I want to see the interpersonal workings of this committee, and you guys work well together. All the different perspectives that you came up with, I thought you did a great job. I'm sure this will sound like the council. Hey, I don't vote, so, who knows?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Good job, everybody.
I'm serious. I'm wildly enthusiastic about it. How about you?
Oh my god. Like, I'm squealing on the inside, like, I feel like a little 5-year-old.
Well, look like you're squealing.
Yeah, look at me squeal. I'm so excited. I think the community
That's what really got me.
to me, they kind of seem like the kind of people that kind of come in, and even though like the people are quiet on the phone, like they come in and they kind of just get to know everybody, and they really know relational, like.
Yeah,
And
they
it
are.
seems like it's gonna be really real, like maybe they'll find a new workshop they wanna try and just like do it, you know?
I
Or you
feel,
get down to Belgiers.
Yeah.
They're not gonna leave. Like, they go to Straps Case, yeah, I know, yeah.
Christy, I felt they sold me when they zoomed from the car. And that was it, I was like, look at them, they're zooming from the car. Jerry.
Yeah.
No, because I'm like, girl, hearts bust out, or do
No, I wanted to ask her about that.
Have you been to an office for the information?
They talk about.
Yeah, I need to.
I'm not, it's still something a little bit.
But I would like to be there.
That'd be,
Well, my sister just got together. Yeah. And then I learned to work on it. And so like, I was in like OKC when it was.
oh, really?
And one of my professors was. So like when my studio upstairs, I would see it, and they would just go like, and anytime we see it on, they would just after dark, you know, you pick up the lawn, so we like sneak
So, I just love the idea of adding, it's all the next time.
His daughter, take all of his so currently we're storing all of his kills, all of his pills, all of his fires, and trying to find the appropriate place.
Excited to be like, yeah,
they're from
yeah.
a building that was unfortunately turned down right on Third and
Familiarity, just felt very like, wanting to.
the joints are solid and the rafter beams are all cold one very popular. So they were doing manufacturing. Hey, we can do this, no problem. And it was like, oh my gosh, it was a cool fun.
It's so delicious.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you. All right, see you.
I did it because I was at the office.
Oh, you, the one with Kathleen? I can never see you keep those on. I saw you keep those on.
Okay, I also.
Yes.
I won't. I have been anxious, but I don't make I looked at like 4 words while I was writing it down.
The renovation.
I got rid of my social media, like I deleted my Instagram right after I did that. I only have Facebook up because the funding is like.
Yeah, so I'm excited for
Or that'd be gone.
it's check.
Yeah.
Why?
So I didn't, I saw one person post.
Oh, did you? Yeah, I did it about this semester.
Because I scrolled through Instagram, but I
Because I wanted, and this is such a like 20-year-old, like I'm studying abroad, like white, but I wanted to remind you of abroad, so it's all the
The director of she's a good friend of mine. Yeah, she's awesome. When we went to check with her a couple years ago.
I just thought it was a miniature.
But I probably never gonna see it. Does that shut off my
I like to put your user basket, because I like to Star Wars. No, but I saw that one, like, coming up with the yeah.
I used to read somewhere that it was from your
$50 for like taking class and I get to and with them. And that's like the cost of doing one. And so I was like, and then she got like a little car on it and stuff. And she loves like miniatures and making stuff. There's so much. I'm cultivating a little engineer, architecture, artist or something.
Petra brought that museum into the future, you know,
Well,
the present and in the
With
future.
DI, before I worked at DI, they did part of the renovation and like some of the stuff, so I did some service on it when I was there, and so, but it's just, did you guys just spiral? Oh, you did? Yes, I did service on a spiral, because it was always great. So. Oh, no. I think it worked. I don't work at DI anymore, but we had so many problems. And we were like, let's do it. It's like talking to like my installers.
That's funny.
But yeah, and like I said, I went to like art school at university, so I was in a fixing house for 2 years. And I'm so glad they're renovating it, like, right now. I was so afraid they were gonna demolish it. I was like, I can't wait to see it, like, I hope they turn the swimming pool back into a swimming pool. Because there was a swimming pool in the basement, and so I'm like, I wanna see like the grotto with the elk.
Okay, is it haunted?
I mean, I was there at all hours of the night, and you're like delirious, right, you're, you know, up for 24 hours. But they're very weird stuff.
She's like, oh, no. Place.
Yeah.
Weird stuff's coming out.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a really weird story, everyone, you know, that's some family, and like, they acted like, you know, and like, there's all these weird theories, which is who the ghost is. But I have this beautiful Kansas City house and stuff. And it's like all these like historic Kansas City houses, and they have a whole section on the Anderson house, and has like the original floor plans, and it like folds out and everything. I bought it just because that was. Like a 70 house.
Yeah.
Well,
Sunday morning.
yeah, let me just. Are you
I get up at 6 o'clock every day.
Every day.
Whether I want to or not. Yes, I will be out. Yes, I will be.
Oh, thank you.
I got.